No, I've put all that behind me now.
Really?
Not
so no clickers are getting clicked.
No clickers. No, you won't see me touching. You won't see me touching a thing. No.
Can we tape over them?
No, no taping over them either.
Don't call it a comeback. We are back for season 2 of Downtime Goes Downhill, the budget edition. As with all the teams, we've been hit by the cycle industry's woes, but we're not going to let that stop us. And we're running the project. We've got all the same brands on board. We're just keeping some of the kit from last year because, quite frankly, there's nothing wrong with it. But we will have some new bits and pieces to keep us fresh throughout the year. And so I'm joined, as ever, by Jonathan Matthews and Ben Thompson. Johnny, we'll start with you. How's life?
Not too bad. The sun has finally come out.
Yeah, what a winter, eh?
In May.
Yeah.
April's normally the sunniest month for us, I guess, and it certainly wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Ben, what about you, mate?
How are you? A bit battered and bruised from my limited attempts at riding recently, but yeah.
Yes, we'll talk about that in more detail in the coming moments. But let's start off with a bit of preparation stuff. And Ben, we'll start with you on this because you decided that running a marathon was going to be the way that you prepare for a season of downhill.
Yeah, so I suppose it's a bit unconventional. And probably not very effective way to prepare. But yeah, I've got some plans to do a long ultra distance run later in the summer, and so sort of post Christmas was like, let's start doing some running. And having failed to complete a marathon previously about 25 years ago, I thought it was a good opportunity to tick it off. So I spent the first 3 months of the year still riding a couple of times a week, but also squeezing in about three runs a week wherever my 47-year-old joints and tendons etc. would allow it, because they had a bit of a nasty surprise when all the training started. So a little bit of sitting on the sofa involved as well there. But it was mid-April.
How have you found that that approach to training as complemented or not complemented riding? Like, how do you feel on a bike at the moment?
Well, I haven't really ridden a bike in about 4 weeks, so
here we go.
So if you the ideal, so my wife does a lot of running. She was planning to run the marathon as well. She had 5 runs a week, but I wasn't going to do 5 runs a week training. So the plan was do 3 and 2 cross training sessions, which was riding a bike. Yeah. So I could still get a fair bit of riding in. I was planning to do a ramp test like a couple of weeks after the marathon, just to see, because I did one before. I did one just after Christmas, I think, just before I started all running.
Okay, this is on the kicker stuff. Yeah, like we've got baselines. Yeah,
and so I had a baseline from before all the training, and was going to do a ramp test a couple of weeks post marathon to see how it had affected things. But I've been too broken to even get on a turbo trainer. So
fair play. You got the marathon done though, which is a massive tick. Like fair play.
That's fair play to anyone who runs marathon. It's bloody hard, man. It's bloody hard. That's
And how long's this ultra then?
Yeah, exactly.
You think the marathon's hard?
42 miles off road, but it's not an event, so there'll be like walking and crying, I expect, later on.
Fair play. I didn't realise you were doing that. I knew about the marathon part of it, but I thought you'd moved on and realised running was stupid. So clearly not.
I thought I might lose some weight, but I haven't lost any weight at all. No,
you haven't got much to lose, mate. To be fair, you're not the biggest of individuals.
Yeah, I don't know. You see some runners; they're pretty lean. Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Fair play, Johnny. Let's hear a little bit about your. Let's talk fitness for now. We'll talk a bit more about bike time and bike riding, but what have you been up to on the fitness front? Because I know you slacked off quite a lot towards the end of last year, which is nothing wrong with that. You enjoyed your Christmas, but how have you approached getting back on it a bit?
Just steady away. I didn't do I didn't get the Wahoo software to create profile, I just picked and chose and tried to do a couple of things a week, stay really active, and build on kind of what I built last year, which was I'd maintained, like even like taking the foot off the pedal at the end of last year. I did the odd session just to keep things ticking over, and yeah, it seemed to kind of work. Maybe a bit more sprinty than last time. But yeah, and then tried to get out on my bike a reasonable amount, weather and life permitting. And there was a couple of weeks I was just like, I'm not going out.
It was grim, eh?
It was. Yeah. That little testing we did with the Canyon. Every ride for me was like that. It was so wet that I did commit to putting shorties on my normal bike, because I was like, you know what, it'd be good to get used to them. I can ride them in some dry conditions. I've done that once. So yeah, I'm quite happy with those tyres at least. But yeah,
so this terrible winter is all your fault for putting shorties on your trail bike?
No, no, it's not. It's the volcano off the coast of Songa that's the cause of all the rain.
All right, let's not turn it into a weather podcast. So, so that your like training week, has that involved like a good chunk of zone 2 kind of base stuff, a bit of sprinty interval stuff, and some strength stuff around the biking? Is that kind of how you're structuring it, or is it?
No, not too much on the strength side of the stuff. Just sitting and picking and choosing on kind of how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling up for it, I did quite a lot of like hard minging sessions that I wouldn't have done last year. Like far less of the zone 2, but I choose the ones that look particularly unappealing from the Wahoo library, and also if they had like a workout of the month and they'd have a couple, I'd always pick one of those, and it ranging from half an hour to just over an hour, and some of them were vomit inducing, but I know for me, once I've got a base fitness, if I do those, I do kind of respond quite well to them. So
yeah, fair play. Why backing away from the strength side a little bit? Like you generally think about why you're doing things.
I didn't want to. I don't.
Do you want to get too hench?
I didn't want to, become a bit too much like Benoit, I guess, and too many games.
No. That's my red button.
I just wanted to do exactly what I wanted to do, really, and I didn't feel like it, so I didn't do it.
Okay, interesting. Be cool to see how that plays out, like how you feel when we get to the races. But
little muscles this year.
Yeah, so I was surprised. I mean, for anyone that listened to our like season wrap in December-ish time, we put that out. Like, I suffered with fatigue pretty badly in the second half of last year, and then dislocated my shoulder at the last round. And so for me, it's been like a super cautious recovery, I guess, like gradually getting back some fitness. I paid for a whoop because I was really interested in tracking heart rate variability to try and keep an eye on whether I was like overdoing things or not. So that was really interesting and helped me like get going. And for the first few months of the year, that all went super well. Like I still had shoulder pain until maybe like mid to late February. Still a little bit, in fact, when we did that canyon ride, which was probably February, I think. But from kind of March onwards, that's all been pretty good. So just ticking away, like, ticking rehab boxes with that and keeping everything moving. I was real surprised that I hadn't lost a huge amount of strength. Like I was quite quickly back up to similar weights for equivalent movements from when I was like fairly good last year. So that's good. And I was making solid progress. Like every month I could see HRV increasing, resting heart rate dropping. And then work got busy, and then it all unwound itself, and everything, the heart rate variability was crashing back down. So I'm not back to like fatigue levels, and I feel generally like I feel fine. Like I'm not in that hole that I was in last year, but I've definitely had to back away from some fitness based stuff in the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks just to kind of allow my body to deal with the stress from work, which sounds ridiculous because all I do is chat about bikes, and clearly that shouldn't be too stressful, but it's been pretty hectic. And obviously first World Cup coming up, things get a lot busier for me for that. But yeah, so that's been cool. And then I can't remember who it was, but I think it was Seb from Roots and Rain said to us last year at the first round, like, sounds like you guys haven't ridden your downhill bikes, or not very much. So I was keen to try and squeeze in some downhill bike time as much as I could, which also made work more hectic because I was trying to find work days where I could go and do that instead of actual work. But it's been cool. Like, I feel the most comfortable I've felt on the bike, I think, which is mint. I've done 4 uplift days in the last 5 or 6 weeks. The first one was before the fitness turn, and I found this super interesting. So I was riding tracks that I know, doing a bit of bike setup work, felt great, 0 arm pump, no issues. And then the heart rate variability thing and like my general stress levels increased. Went back, rode the same track, and the arm pump's back. So I'm kind of intrigued as to whether there's some kind of link between like how my body's doing and how it feels from an arm pump perspective when I ride the bike. So I have no idea where I'm going to be at for this race. Like, I'm probably, I'm nowhere near as fit as I was going into the first round last year, but I think I'm a lot healthier, if that makes sense. Like, my body is in a better place, I'm eating better, I feel more alive, and I'm excited for it. So that's all good. But yeah, whether I can hold on to the bike or not for a full run's yet to be seen. But yeah, super cool to get more bike time and just to feel comfortable on that bike and get it all running well. It's feeling pretty sweet. Jonny, talk to us about downhill bike time, or bike time in general. I think you've spent as much as you can some time on the e-bike to get bike time, but downhill bike time has been limited, I think.
Yeah, that comment from Seb, I remember that, and I was like, I need to kind of address that for next year. I've not, in a word, I've had 2 push-up days, really. That's been just the limit of it at the moment, unfortunately.
And what's holding you back? Is it just family stuff and work and things like that getting in the way? Or?
Yeah, just being able to get away midweek. Weekends are, a non-starter for me with various kids' activities and stuff. So, just super busy and not other things going on, basically.
Yeah,
so
that's cool though, mate. You're giving your kids all the love they need and getting them to all the things they want to do, and that's the most important thing, right? But yeah, it just shows it's not necessarily easy to fit that in. You got, I guess, to be a true racer, you've got to have a little bit of selfishness and be like, well, no, I need to go and do this. But
yeah, it's all priorities, and I think there's not making excuses. It's just, it is what it is, and I made those choices. But I'm still excited to go and race downhill bikes.
How are you feeling on the bike when you did get those runs in?
Yeah, all right, apart from the spanner in the works of that we got our suspension kindly serviced and tuned by Fox, and they forks feel completely different. So
okay. Well, I should say we've got we don't have the Grip X2 damper because it wasn't released when we had the services done, but we have got, like, I guess the best point they'd got to on the older damper. So like what people were running towards the back end of last season at the races, we've got in the forks and shocks now from a valving perspective, which is, it's cool. But yeah, that does mean that maybe the bike's running a little bit different. So have you been able to spend some time clicking clickers, or like have you got close to something you feel is?
I think it was a lot easier to get to a point that than it was.
Okay.
I think last year it felt like the setup was on a knife edge at any point in time, whereas now I could change things, and it was still within a massive window of rideability, so it's a lot better. Okay, good. But you'll be no doubt puzzling a little bit at the weekend, right? No, I've put all that behind me now. Really? No clickers are getting clicked. No clickers. No, you won't see me touching. You won't see me touching a thing. No. Can we tape over them? No, you're not no taping over them either.
I guarantee you're going to click at least one clicker this weekend.
Maybe some low speed compression. Yeah,
for balance, right? Because I'm guessing your local trails are not going to be as steep as some of the bits that we'll be riding at the weekend.
No, and also we got some new bars from One Up.
Yeah,
so I put those on, and I was playing with like the stack height and how high can I go? Because there's certain World Cup riders who are promoting that kind of approach. So that was a non-starter as well. And I quickly went back down to a level that I felt good at.
Yeah.
So I've gone to the longer setting on the front of the frame as well. So I've gone forwards. Yeah, I think it's 8mm, something like that.
Yeah, I think they're +/8. What rear end setting are you in?
In the long.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. How does that feel?
It felt good. Yeah. My reason being, I wanted, I did like a relatively high setup, but as it went higher, you obviously come back. So I think by going a little bit forwards, it kind of puts that bar back into the position that I wanted.
Gets your reach back towards where you
back
are
to like that neutral point if you were to draw like a line through it. So
cool.
So yeah.
Nice. We should mention the One Up stuff. So I did an interview with them back end of last year, I think, and I just love the concept of their bar that's got vertical compliance built in by the way they shape the bar, but still stiff when you're kind of turning and maneuvering the bike around. And I figured anything I can get to help the arm pump's got to be a good thing. So they said they'd send us out some bars and stems, which is cool. So I think everyone's chosen slightly different things, but I got the 25 rise bar, which is the same bar height that we had on the Canyons from stock. And then I also got the 35 bar so I could put it on my trail bike. So I've been riding the same bar cut to the same width, whatever bike I ride, to just try and get used to how that feels. But I really like it. I think it feels great. I haven't had the chance to do a back-to-back run on the same day, like the old bar to that bar, to see if I can feel the difference. But it's definitely not a backward step. So yeah, stoked on those. Benoit, bike time and bike setup. Talk to us.
So I've ridden the downhill bike once since the final round last season. That was a couple of weeks ago. It's like, yeah, I know,
we're doing well, aren't we?
The first Pearce was approaching. I was getting a bit panicked. I was like, I better get some riding in. So a bunch of us went up from Sheffield to Danny Hart's Descend bike park in County Durham for an uplift day there.
Yeah.
It was cool. We got driven up and down by Danny Hart's dad, which was quite a novelty.
Nice.
And I think I got just past lunchtime and had a massive over the bars, and that was my day over, and I'm still recovering from that. No sort of serious damage done, but it was so bad that I actually spent some of my own money to go and get checked out, which as a tight Yorkshireman is pretty serious business.
You did wait about 2 weeks though before we persuaded you that you might want to go and get looked at because it was still hurting. Talk us through a bit more, like what happened in the crash. Were you wearing?
So I'm so glad I had the Fox helmet on, which is like it feels so secure. And I went down hard on my head, shoulder, and back, and I had the back. They're like Fox, like the D30 back protector and chest plate on. Good job I had those on. There's not much protection for the shoulders, so shoulder is pretty sore.
No,
I've bruised some ribs front and back, but the back is the worst. That's the most painful. So it's pretty painful on like stretching and lifting. Coughing and sneezing is like scream out loud. Painful, but I think it's going to be doable, I think, for the weekend. So just about.
Interesting. Yeah, a week ago you said you thought you were going to come, but you probably wouldn't be riding, but that's changed. So talk us through. You went to, was it a chiropractor you went to see?
Jonny was like, "Oh, what you need to do is get your tuning fork out, and ding your tuning fork, and put it on each of your ribs to see if they're broken." I think you and I, Chris, were like, "What is he on about?" But lo and behold, she got a tuning fork out and ding the tuning fork, every rib, up and down all the vertebrae. It was a bit of a strange sensation. check mobility. Shoulders fine. It had full mobility sort of straight away. It was painful, but it would all still move. So it's pretty clear there wasn't too much wrong there. And she doesn't think that the ribs are broken. So have at it as much as I can. Yeah.
Safely have at it. Yeah. How were you? So for the half a day that you did ride the bike, how were you feeling on it? Did you start from where you were last year? With
everything went back on same settings. I think we were chatting about it a bit, weren't we? Thought it feels much the same. Maybe needs a little bit more pressure in and a little bit more compression because it feels not quite as supportive as it was. Back end feels a little bit slow, so the back end was sliding out here and there, so maybe it needs speeding up a little bit to up the grip. But I had it in.
Yeah.
I'd run the front end in the middle cups last year the whole time, so I tried them short up in County Durham, which is not that fast, quite technical.
Why crashed?
On the
Johnny saying that's why you crashed.
I've put it long for this weekend because we know this is pretty fast, high speed venue mostly. So I'll see what it's like. Pretty easy to change actually. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah,
it's not too bad, eh?
Yeah,
5 or 10 minute job.
Otherwise,
it was a 2-month job for me.
Oh yeah, yeah, bearings.
Oh yeah, we needed some fresh bearings for the bikes, especially you boys did a lot of jet washing of the bikes at races last year because we had 2 heavy mudders.
I've put the new bars on, but I haven't ridden them yet. But I've just set them to the same height as I put the alley ones on. I've got a carbon pair as well to try out. Yeah.
You've got okay.
They might be on the trail bike though.
Okay.
A bit scared to use those.
So you are on 35 rise. So higher than the outgoing bar. Or did you already raise that bar?
I think it's set the same because there was a spacer and the stem was a bit higher. The bar height should be the same.
Yeah. Okay.
To start with.
Yeah, so you've evened out at the same spot, but but you'll have a bit more influence in geo with the bar roll. So
but we'll fiddle with that another time.
Gives you a bit more room for manoeuvre. Yeah, fair play. So we've got, like I said, we tried to do this on a bit more of a budget. Not that we had a huge budget last year, but
no
just
semis.
No semi-finals, but just to help brands really, so that they could stick with us and support what we're doing, and equally because you don't need fresh everything every year, but we do have some lovely fresh kit from Fox which you boys haven't seen yet, and I'm looking forward to handing to you at the weekend. They've got no speed suits, I'm afraid, Ben, only for Johnny.
Not for Johnny.
Michelin man.
Well, they've updated our favourite pads. So the Launch Pro knee and elbow pads have had an update refresh for this year. So we've got new ones of those. I rode in them yesterday. I can report that I like them. Keen to see what you guys say. So that's cool. So we'll be hopefully looking pretty fresh. There is one more box of kit on its way from somewhere in Europe that hopefully arrives before the weekend. But that should be good. Obviously the change to 1-up bars and stems, which is fun, and we've got some. I think maybe Johnny. Did you get 2 different heights, Johnny, or not?
I just got 1 set of bars.
1 set of bars, and then Ben's got the carbon bar to play with. Apparently, a lot of the World Cup riders are favouring their carbon e-bike bar, which is really interesting. They've tried all the bars and have ended up enjoying that one on their downhill bikes for some reason, which is quite interesting. All the Fox stuff's had a rebuild, so that's super fresh and ready to go. And then, we should say this season we will be doing as a group anyway, the first round of the Pearce in Rudderfelling, same as last year, and the final round at the end of September in Hopton, which is also the same as last year. Hopefully that one goes a bit better for me. And then in the middle of the season, instead of doing national champs, we're going to do a little 2-day team camp so that we can play about with some things and get stuck into the bikes a bit. So we've got O-Chain have sent us their latest version of the O-Chain, which is fully adjustable from 12 degrees all the way around to 0 degrees. So I'm running that already. I was running the O-Chain last year and really like what that did to the bike. So it's going to be fun to get you boys on those when we do that little team camp, and then we can play with some other bits and pieces as well maybe, and get the bikes either more dialed in or less dialed in, depending on how successful we are. No, and Jonny, probably worse.
I won't touch anything.
You're like, I'm not going to move it. So yeah, that's going to be fun, and we'll hopefully be able to give people some insight into what we've done there. Maybe we'll get some timing out, who knows, and put some stuff against the clock in the middle of the season. And then Jonny, you've jumped in with both feet, and you're going to be doing the full series.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, pick those other. There's two in the middle. That date's worked.
Was that a no-brainer for you? Did you just have so much fun last year, or are you chasing the championship?
No,
What's going on?
Just like I had so much fun washing my bike. I was like, how can I get more of this?
You did do a lot of bike washing.
That's the main practice I've got this off season. Like,
yeah, let's hope we don't need that skill this year, eh? You've learned how to change tyres and wash bikes, and I'm be really grateful to not do either of those this season. Yeah. Yes, that's cool. So you excited for those? You're doing one on your own, and I believe you're taking your son to one of them.
Yeah, twisted his arm. He's going to come to the one in August, I think.
Ace.
So yeah, just
what category will he be in?
The first category, I think.
Which is juvenile.
Juvenile. I want to say juvenile. I think it's juvenile. Okay. Yeah.
And this will be his first ever bike race.
Yeah, we were going to be trying to pencil one in for earlier, but he's managed to break his toe playing cricket.
Ah, no way.
So yeah, he's off sports at the moment.
How do you break your toe playing cricket? Finger, I can understand. Toe's a tricky one.
Well, yeah, but if you're a bit of a wally and you whack it, the bat into your toe.
Yeah, okay. Ace.
So yeah.
That's a quick fix right. In someone his age, though.
2 to 3 weeks, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Sweet. And is he excited for it?
Yeah, I've been taking him out riding a bit more. He's just that to turn into a teenager, and he's like a nonchalant, whatever, Dad.
Ace. That's cool. Nice. So Ben, how are you planning on improving from here then? Right. So we're going in woefully underprepared in this season, less prepared than we were last season, even though we know way more what to expect.
You're all right though, Chris. I think you're in a reasonable position.
My fitness is definitely not, but the bike is good. I feel good on the
You're
bike.
feeling better in yourself. I think that's more important than the fitness.
Yeah, potentially. Well, I mean, we'll see come the end of the weekend, but I think I've still got a fairly all right base. Like, I think I can, if I don't try too hard and don't get carried away and do too many runs, I think I can cruise through the weekend on like that, like aerobic base. But I've definitely got, I have zero explosive power, no like interval kind of high end heart rate stuff, and interested as to whether I can hold onto a bike for a full track. But
not much pedaling on this track though, so
no, true. It's there's a gift in that. I think there's a few pedals out the gate, a few pedals across the field at the bottom, and then you could probably, if you ride well, let it run for most of it. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm interested in like how you see yourself, because last year we all sort of struggled through that middle part of the year for various different reasons. Like life gets busy, or you realise you've burnt yourself out, or whatever. Like, any thoughts, Ben, on how you might do a better job of improving yourself this year? Because that's kind of what we all hoped we'd do last time.
I'm definitely not as well prepared physically for this season, clearly. But compared to this time last year, I was bricking it before the first race. I was bricking it, yeah.
Were you really? You covered it pretty well,
It was all new, didn't know where we were going, didn't know what it was going to be like. And definitely, we've got 3 races, well, Jonny and I have got 3 races under our belts. We're going to know loads of people there. We know how it runs, so even with all like the setbacks there's been, I still feel more confident like heading into the first race of the season. But so how can I improve? Well, by riding a bike a bit more, probably would help.
Would help,
like Jonny, I wasn't planning to I set out at the start of last season with this ridiculous like process that I was aiming to achieve that was totally wasn't even doable for a pro probably. So I've decided this season I'd just scale it right back. Try and get on the turbo trainer for an interval session of some kind once a week. Do some sort of gym session at home once a week. Get out on the bike, ride. Think a bit more about mindset, because that seemed to be what made the biggest difference last season. Getting into the right frame of mind for the weekend and a run.
Yeah. Have you got an approach to do that? Have you found things that tend
one
to
thing
work
I've
for you?
been doing over the winter is when I have ridden a fair bit over the winter, is we spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time last season trying to had those like ride goals of like getting off the brakes a bit earlier in the corners, so carrying some more speed out and just going a bit more, where I could, going a little bit faster than I was comfortable with. So over the winter I've been trying to keep that up, but make it a habit, rather it's something you don't have to think about rather than a conscious thing. Sort of automaticizing that, I guess, so that I've got a bit more space to think about other stuff, or maybe trying to think about nothing on those race runs and just let it go.
Get into that flow state, eh? That would be nice. What about you, Jonny? You've committed to getting better by just like entering more races. You're getting yourself some downhill bike time by making sure you're at the races.
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah, there's nothing that makes you better at racing like racing. So
you can't recreate that, however hard you try. Right? I've loads of racers I've talked to about pre-season race sims and all this kind of stuff, and they're like, it's kind of interesting, but you always go faster on your race run. Like, there's just no way you can simulate that, which is why everyone struggled to get the motorway jumps right at Fort William, because you just don't hit them at that race pace until your final runner.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah. So is there beyond the racing, is there like a plan? Is there downhill days happening? Are you going back to see Mr. Simpson at RSR Racing for bike tuning and tweaking? I heard a rumour from him at the weekend that you were trying to sort out a day with him and Ethan at some point.
Yeah, we were. Didn't pan out. I think I got Earlaw. It was, when was it? Oh yeah, it was like towards the end of March, and he was there, and then they went out to Portugal and what have you. So I was going to hook up with them at Bike Park Wales, but it didn't pan out. But maybe if there's a window during the summer, that would be cool. Put the data back on the bike and then persuade Ethan to let me try and chase him down for one corner. That would I thought that would be quite fun. And what else have I done? But very similar to Ben, actually. Just kind of like riding with that, maybe like a slightly faster mindset, and leaning the bike over a bit more, working on body position a bit, and trying to make it more of a habit than having to think about it. And riding in the wet, obviously, is good practice. And
let's hope not. I hope it's bad practice, but
I hope so. I have done the sod's law of wet weather preparation, and it's all going to be for nothing, and I will be more than happy with that.
Yeah, exactly.
However, there was something else I was going to mention. Oh yeah, what Ben said, we're not coming in as blind as we were last time. So I wasn't too phased about the fact that we were going racing, but just getting used to how the events run, how fast people ride, seeing people riding super quick on track, all of those things, just we know this time. So I think from that aspect, we're going in, you can say maybe not as prepared, but I think we are more mentally prepared, and I'm just as excited, get to ride a downhill bike on a really cool track. So
yeah, for sure. And I'm going to keep trying for the bike time side of things. I think I've been surprised at how strong I retained, like even through very limited gym work through the shoulder stuff. So I'm not too stressed about how strong I am. I still do a little bit, I think, so it's good for you, and a bit of zone 2 in the week, whether that's just in normal life by walking places and doing a school run on foot and all that kind of stuff, or whether it's more structured than that. But and then getting bike time in, so local stuff on the trail bike, but also I think I'm going to go to the Alps and put a downhill bike on that program, and hopefully spend a week in Morzine getting some laps in, because a good friend of ours has kindly organised a stag do for the week before the Leger World Cup in Morzine, so you can't really turn that down. But yeah, just to be able to come out on the downhill bike every day for 5 or 6 days in a row and just get some laps in, surely it's got to be a good thing. And if I can't iron out the arm pump in a week in the Alps, then I don't think I can iron it out. I need to get whatever operation Loic had before Fort William.
Exactly.
So, so I'm excited. I'm super excited for that, and feeling pretty motivated for training, actually, having had I feel like I've survived this first block of stressful work for the year, and once everything's ticking over and what have you, and you're back in the flow of doing the World Cup pre and post race shows and other projects and bits and pieces, then hopefully that all starts to become a bit easier. I've also got someone helping me out as well, which is cool. So Archie's on board doing a little bit of work on the socials and some video stuff. So, and
you've got Gary as well.
AI Gary is heavily involved. Yeah, make the most of it, getting on board with AI to do what it can for us. So yeah, I'm hopeful that I can make some improvements, because I'm definitely at a lower point fitness wise, but in a much healthier position to actually improve that than I was, even though I didn't realize it this time last year, I think. So yeah, optimistic on that. We should talk goals for the season, Ben. Have you got aspirations, hopes, goals? How are you feeling about that?
Do better in the second round, well, the fourth round than at the first round? Have fun? No, I don't have any goals, performance goals for this season, really. No, nothing.
And it looks like we might not be coming back to your Nemesis double, because it looks like we might be using a different track.
We could nip down there, but it's probably tempting fate, isn't it? Next season.
It's definitely tempting fate. Next season. Yeah. What about you, Jonny? Any goals?
No, have fun. Leave the weekend in one piece, and try and ride fast down the hill, I think.
Yeah.
Same as last year.
Last year you seemed to have a bit more of a feel for where you wanted to be in the pack kind of thing, and I guess we now know where we stack up, or where we did stack up last year. Is there any inkling of a performance related goal?
No, there is. Yes, I don't want to fall off as much.
Okay. Yes, that was in the muddy races, right?
Yeah.
You stayed on that first one in the dry, I think.
Yeah, stayed on that first one in the dry, and then and the last one actually, but I was riding pretty steady away on the last one. But the middle one, there was definite inability to stay on two wheels post lunch on the Saturday.
Yeah, let's hope that changes. And Benoit, you looked at the weather forecast for the weekend and sent a message earlier. Is it looking positive? I've been trying to not.
Yeah, maybe.
Really?
Low 20s, sunny. Showers on Sunday afternoon, so you might need to make those first runs count. Yeah.
Oh, easy. I'm a performance machine. That would be nice. A dry weekend, though. I mean, it was incredible last year.
If it rains, get away early. Do the second runs.
Get the long drive home sorted. And we're going to track walk this year, right? Are we all going to be there on Friday evening for track walk?
Definitely one of the things I learned from last year. I've been poring over that helmet cam as well, trying to memorise it. Yeah.
Have you? Oh, good effort. I haven't had the time yet, but maybe I'll spend some hours one evening this week before we go. Wicked. And you boys are on it with dinners. Thank you very much. It was nice to know that I'm catered for and can just swan about all weekend. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to get back between the tapes, and cool to see a lot of the people that we met there last year, because it's people that we enjoyed hanging out with and riding bikes with. So yeah, it'd be cool to catch up. It felt very welcoming last year. And that anyone trying to throttle back on how many runs they do on the first day, because it's easy to get a bit carried away.
No, I'm going to be really, really carried away, and I'm going to be like, I've done one or two runs too many. Absolutely not.
Excellent. Well, I guess the lack of bite time, right? You're just going to be you're going to be too up for it.
Just too keen. You can be too keen.
Yeah, I had my head there. I had a long drive today, and I was like, maybe I could just do 4 runs on the Saturday, because I'm normally up to speed by then. I feel pretty good, and I won't be too tired. And then I was like, yeah, but if it's dry and it's fun and you boys are putting the laps in, I was like, it's not going to happen. We're going to end up doing 6 or 7, I reckon. But apparently the team at Framework spent the whole weekend trying to stop Asa from doing too many laps because he was just having too much fun, which is, it might well be us on Saturday. But yeah, nice one. Well, we should wrap it up there. We'll get back together at some point next week and talk through how our experience went. It sounds like we're all feeling pretty positive at the moment. Let's see if that's still the case next week. I hope it will be. But yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for being part of this again for another season and sharing your let's say ups, and let's hope there's not too many downs with the audience. It's surprisingly like super well received project last year, and so many people have been in touch saying that they hope we do it again and they want to follow that journey. So yeah, let's see how we get on between the tapes at the weekend.
Great.
Cheers, Grace.